Funcom's upcoming survival MMO is making the rounds lately, and that makes sense to capitalize on the hype of Dune Part 2, which is currently in theaters. Damn it, I'm kind of getting excited about it, and that actually worries me a little bit. There's a lot of good reasons to be excited for an MMO, but there's some bad ones too. Whenever you include Funcom and MMO, I worry a little bit. When you include MMO and survival, I worry a bit more. But the quote in an interview from PCGamer from Joel Bylos, the creative director of Dune Awakening, might actually have me kind of over the moon here. It's funny you mentioned Star Wars Galaxies. That was a huge inspiration for us, Joel Bylos said. That's the style of MMO we really like, the old sandboxy MMOs. Then World of Warcraft came out and everyone copied that for a few years, or still do. But a lot of us are old school MMO players. Funcom's been around for a while, he even made one of the originals, with Anarchy Online. This, perhaps more than Bylos being tied to Secret World, has me buzzing a little bit, because Star Wars Galaxies may have been the best sandbox MMO I've ever played in its heyday, and definitely the best sci-fi themed one. And his comments about the connection to WoW are very poignant. SWG launched in 2003. It has no Jedi, no real quest structure, no levels. What it had was a skill system that let you kind of create your own character through experiencing the game, an intricate crafting system complete with construction of automated harvester farms, a great non-instance housing system that I haven't seen rivaled elsewhere except perhaps Arcade, non-combat roles that actually mattered and made sense, PvE combat that was still engaging and thrilling, just as their PvP was with raids and huge creatures. It has its problems, of course. There was some balancing issues, and one of the death knells of the game was a frustrating endgame that felt empty. After all, you can only go to so many Rancor nests before that starts to get really kind of monotonous and boring. Quick side note here, I have in a not flattering way compared those Star Wars Galaxy missions to go get credits to the missions that you get in Star Citizen, a much newer MMO. But hey, you know what, fans of Star Citizen, tell me in the comment section down below why I'm wrong, and those missions are actually not going to get boring very fast. And you can't use the awesome flight combat as a reason. The other part of this and the connection to WoW is that when Star Wars Galaxies really kind of failed in a lot of ways was when they tried to turn that sandbox MMO, got rid of a bunch of the things that made it what it was, and tried to become a WoW but World of Warcraft light. Like they tried to capitalize on the leveling system and questing and things like that, and gave everybody Jedi. And there were other updates at the same time, but the NGE will go down as one of the biggest mistakes that was ever made in gaming history, I think. And it was kind of the beginning of the end for Star Wars Galaxies, although admittedly it was already kind of struggling a little bit. Okay, so admittedly, I didn't have to include that, but I kind of wanted to highlight some of the non-combat stuff that you can do in Star Wars Galaxies. Shout out to Star Wars Galaxy Restoration emulator server. You can go check out that game whenever you want to. Link was in the description. But going back to Dune and what I'm excited about with this game. All of this excitement around the nods to Star Wars Galaxies and the sandboxy elements were further enhanced by the Direct, which they released on March 4th, which went into more details. Much of it showed more of just how freaking good of a game this looks in Unreal Engine 5, breaking down some of the lighting tech, which looks really next generation. The visual details in it looks pretty freaking incredible. But visuals aren't everything. I mean, if you've been around this channel for any amount of time, you realize that they're really not that much to me. Actually, gameplay is the most important thing, and passion. And passion for the game seems to be what's coming a lot from these developers. They seem very passionate about the game they're making. They're excited about this game in a way that is admirable and contagious. Because honestly, and this is where I have to out myself here, I have never read Dune despite reading shit tons of books, and I have never seen the Dune movies, not the old one from the 80s and not the two new ones. Although I think I'm going to now. Because this trailer by itself has made me interested in the world of Dune. I was terrified of the sandworms, how massive they can get, how imposing, and how you'll have to contend with them in game to gather the materials you need to survive and thrive. And I think this is in part due to what Bilo said about the sandworms, because I'd initially imagined them to be like crate dragons in SWG. But no, you won't be killing these sandworms. As Bilo puts it, they are a tension mechanic. There's no way to kill them. They can only be avoided, but you can lure them to your enemies or even your friends. Kind of like a living natural disaster, which is something I don't think I've seen in an MMO. I mean, I really am curious to see how it works out. It kind of makes me think of Enshrouded and the Shroud and everything like that, but like a million times more terrifying. And then of course they ended the direct with a comment on the release date that makes anyone happy that has witnessed the number of MMOs that have been rushed out the door over the last, I'd say 10 to 15 years, trying to meet WoW and seeing how they fail because they're lacking in key things, they're too buggy, they don't have an end game, or they're just plain bad. They're gonna wait, they're not rushing this game, it's gonna basically be done when it's done. They are currently doing beta tests for this game. There's been a couple tests already that they mentioned, and they're looking to expand those tests. So it is at least pretty far along, but it doesn't sound like they're rushing to just get it out there to capitalize on the Dune movie, which I can really appreciate. If you want to get an idea of why this commentary, especially about Star Wars Galaxies, but more specifically, the vocal acknowledgement of what World of Warcraft did to the MMO genre, you can find out all of that in this video right here on how World of Warcraft killed the MMO genre. And before you say that's just hyperbole and clickbait, go watch the video and you'll see what I'm saying. My name is Redbeard Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I appreciate you so much.